is a great pleasure to welcome once again to the Oval Office my good friend, Secretary General of the United Nations, Mr. Ban Ki-moon. As we celebrate the 70th anniversary of the United Nations, we can take great satisfaction in the success of the institution in resolving conflicts, in moving forward through its agencies on a whole range of development issues that are helping vulnerable peoples around the world. At the same time, we are in a period in which the demands placed, the burdens on the United Nations have never been greater. And throughout what is a very tumultuous process, the Secretary General and his team, I think, have done excellent work and have been excellent partners with us. Today we spoke about a wide range of issues. At the top of our list was the urgency of a world response to the threat of climate change. And the Secretary General has been a consistent champion of a concerted, unified global response to the issue. I shared with him the work that we are doing in the United Nations so that we can be a leader in addressing this critical, perhaps the critical issue that faces humankind going forward, and explained how through our power plant rule, through the work we're doing on renewable energies and so forth, that we're in a position now to meet the very aggressive targets that we're putting forward in preparation for the Paris conference. And I encouraged the Secretary General to continue to work with us to press those countries who have not yet put forward bold, aggressive plans to do so, because we need Paris to be a success, and the world has to step up in a concerted way on behalf of our children and future generations. We also had opportunity to discuss a range of regional issues. In Syria, we shared our deep concerns about the humanitarian crisis there, as well as the need to stop the killing and arrive at a realistic political process that can lead to a stabilizing of the country and a transition to a government that is reflective of all the people of Syria. And we traded notes on how our diplomatic teams can work together with other interested parties on that issue. We also discussed the need to end the conflict in Yemen and address the humanitarian situation there. We discussed some modest progress that's been made in Libya in bringing together the many factions that have created great difficulty in governance in Yemen and have created a vacuum that is causing everything from a outflow of refugees to the safe havens for organizations like ISIL. And we discussed South Sudan. As many of you know, when I was in Africa in Addis Ababa, I convened a meeting with the leaders of the countries surrounding South Sudan. It was several years ago where South Sudan was recognized as an independent country, and there was great progress and great hope at that time. That hope has been squandered by Mr. Kiir and the opposition leader, Mr. Bashar. Our goal now is to make sure that by August 17th, there's an agreement for them to stop the bloodshed and to move forward in a inclusive government. If they miss that target, then I think it's our view that it's going to be necessary for us to move forward with a different plan and recognize that those leaders are incapable of creating the peace that is required. On a more positive note, we have now completed the follow-up on the Millennium Development Goals that had been set. We now have a new set of sustainable development goals, as well as financing for those goals that have been agreed to through a process of international consensus. And they reflect, I think, the newest and best thinking about how we can lift people out of extreme poverty and not just provide aid, but also increase capacity, with a strong emphasis on making sure that women and girls are lifted up in the process, making sure that we're emphasizing clean energy, sustainable energy, education, entrepreneurship, and small and medium-sized businesses. And I'm very encouraged by the process and the leadership that was shown by the United Nations and all the countries involved. What we saw